do be expensive. That's the reason that I don't have a cat, because I'm still not broke. Like, because I'm DoorDashing, pays not only better but more regularly than the dealership gig. So I'm not like worried about rent every month. And dudes, last week I went to the grocery store and I bought groceries, and it was before I got paid.
Oh wow!
And it was like, I don't know, it was like $70. And I didn't even, like, while I was standing in line, I didn't even, like, open up the bank account to check how much was in there. You know how long it's been since I could just buy groceries whenever I wanted and not have to go, do I need this, like, absolutely right now, or can this wait till next week?
Gosh.
It was awesome.
Okay, my first thought is, that is awesome. And I'm not taking away from your message. My second thought is, you spent $70 on groceries?
I was out of everything.
Okay. I believe it. And, I'll go to the groceries, and usually my average is maybe like $35 or so, but I might end up going more than once a week. So, but that's also for 3 people. So when you said $70, I'm like,
yeah, how often do you go to the grocery store?
Lately, as infrequently as possible, but we've been working off of stuff that we've had in the freezer for a while. So it's really hard.
Okay, Brian.
Yes.
When the world was normal, how often did you go to the grocery store?
Probably 2 times a week, and 3 times if I needed to run and grab something real quick.
Yeah, exactly. I go like twice a month. So
and that's what I was getting toward. I was like, okay, he's only buying for himself. It's probably enough to stretch for a long time. And I know you, of all people, have really taken it upon yourself to be as responsible as possible. So I figured that was it. But when you're saying spent $70, my brain was like, oh, that's a lot. So I had to inquire. So I know it's not all Pop-Tarts, right?
I mean, a significant percentage of that is Pop-Tarts, but I bought bananas too.
What flavor? Pop-Tarts, not bananas. I'm assuming the bananas are banana flavored.
Most of them, yeah. What did I get? I got the chocolate fudge and brown sugar cinnamon and s'mores and cherry are my, like, 4 go-to flavors, because variety.
I do s'mores. I will always do the frosted brown sugar cinnamon. Apparently that is like the flavor. Like that's the one that Carrie eats. I feel like it's, vanilla or chocolate ice cream. It's the one everybody goes to. I tried the hot fudge. Didn't love it, but I still love s'more. So that's kind of my go-to.
And like I tried the cookies and cream thing years ago when it was new, and I almost threw up. I'm like, this is disgusting. But yeah, my point is, even though I'm no longer like flat broke, I still can't afford a cat because pets be expensive, as Odin said.
That they are.
And yeah. Plus, my apartment is no longer cat friendly. I got crap everywhere. I'd have to like make things cat friendly before I got a cat, and I ain't got time for that. So hey, anyone who's thinking of sending me a cat, don't.
Well, I know what I'm not getting you for Mother's Day after all.
Well, good, because I had to take your freaking bees back, so. Also, I don't have a P.O. box. I don't have the P.O. box anymore, so please don't send a cat to the P.O. box. But anyway, okay, right. So, we've now been recording for 4 minutes. I'm certain that it has started. So, let's get to it, shall we?
Begun.
Here we go. Dirk, you still here?
I'm still here.
Okay, just checking. Here we go. Mike, shut up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ow, jam! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is episode 590 of the Mana Pool, and we're back. Last week, for those of you listening to the audio version of this podcast, you'll notice there was not an actual podcast last week, and that's because, honestly, we just weren't feeling it, just by and large. So instead, we hopped on twitch.tv/themanapool and just talked about stuff. And instead of uploading a 2.5 hour nonsense stream, I've actually been cutting it up into pieces, and there were, I think, a total of 5 parts. 2 or 3 of which are up now. By the time you're... Oh my god, I'm sorry, I have horrible hiccups tonight. By the time you're hearing the audio version of this, it's possible that they're all up? I don't know. Like, the first episode was us talking about the quarantine experiences and COVID and all that. The second one was mostly Star Wars. The third one was, I think, Risk and Night Trap. And the fourth one was about sorting comics and The Witcher on Netflix. And then the fifth one was about Final Fantasy VII, just in general, not just the remake, but in general. And then Mike and I wrapping up. So, yeah. It was that, and all of them were entertaining, and I was amazed at how cleanly I could cut between sections. It was amazing. It was almost like we planned it, but we totally did not.
No.
So yeah, but anyway, so hi, I'm Chewy. I am the lead dork, but I am also. Wait, hang on. Wait, let me turn off the Chewy and turn on. The Angel. Yay, I am the Angel. And I have these other people here too. Hi, other people.
Hey, I'm Brian, and I will be your GM tonight. I will be leading these adventurers through their quest on Trivester. Last time we did this was a bit of an exposition dump, and I think
A bit?
a bit. It was basically Eichel explains the plot, or maybe about a third of the plot or so. So this time, I'm not going to avoid exposition if it comes up, but from what I have planned, I don't think you're going to hear quite so much of Brian being like, and this is how the world works for 2 hours.
Thank goodness.
Unless I just decide to go off. Whichever. We'll find out.
Hi, I'm Mike, and today I'm also Karim Ferris, the soldier, outfitted with some awesome new armor and weaponry.
Yay.
And I am Alaric, the monk, puncher, shooter guy.
He's also Dirk.
Yeah, who's also Dirk. The self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group. I almost feel like Eric of many names at this point. But I am nowhere close to his title.
He has so many names. Also, hey, Saint Saigal with the 14-month resub. And he said, woo, RPG episode. Yes.
And he's got, little
Oh yeah, he's got the Chewy emote with mercy wings around it because I'm the Angel.
You're the Angel. Is that Mercy Wings? Okay, cool. So, does anyone want to give us a brief recap on recent events as you understand them?
Let's see. All I have written down is that the last thing we decided was we were off to find Gandr.
Gander, yeah.
Okay. South of Drazel, which Drazel is the tree, right?
Yes. It is
Yeah.
not something that you make out of clay. It is the tree.
Also, Stark resubbed for 33 months. And Random Keho dropped by to throw 100 bits and say, has it been a year already since the last RPG episode?
The last one was actually in December.
So, close. It's been almost 6 months.
I've actually had the thought, basically during this entire quarantine, of I have no excuses to not work on this. And spoiler alert, I had an outline for the whole thing from the very get-go, but it was not 100% fleshed out. And it has been most of the way there for a while, but now we are about as close as I've ever been. So I've continued to work on it, tweak on it as we've done it. So,
Nice.
So that is where you left off. just pushing back a little bit, just so it's fresh in everybody's mind. You went to the mountain of Nivelier, and you were looking for a key. You found a Noggle on top. You partook of a maze and battled a boss at the end that was the Noggle, but it turns out the Noggle is a medium for a giant magma dragon that lives deep within the mountain, so it doesn't incinerate everything it comes across. And you pass the test. And the last episode was basically you resting. She made you some new equipment while you were resting and discussing, and she explained some things. Um, Karim or Alaric, somebody want to say just like the 2 minute ish version of any questions you had coming out of that, or do you feel like you understand what's going on? Did you, or what did you learn, but not like spend 20 minutes on it?
I like the way Brian is trying to tell someone else not to spend 20 minutes on something.
We learned that Eichelnir, it was, voluntarily bound to the mountain, more or less. And crap, I can't remember why.
I can't either. Brian, I think you're going to have to give us the Cliff Notes version.
So Cliff Notes, Eichelnir is in the mountain because the nature of her mana, anywhere that she would go, she would emulate. So she serves two purposes by being down there. One is to stop from destroying everything she's worked so hard to create. She and Donathir helped shape a lot of the plane, and it also allows her. She, in a sense, provides heat and warmth for the plane. It's actually tunneled out and spread from her. So her coming out, bad, fire, destruction, chaos, all that sort of stuff. Her being in the mountain, and she doesn't seem to have a problem with this because she can take over the minds of some of the Noggles that live nearby because of a pact she made with one of their shamans, and the fact that Noggle heads are mostly empty to begin with. Sorry to any Noggles out there. I know that's kind of racist, but they're donkeys, so what are you gonna do? And
that's like saying I'm sorry that some goblins are really stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So you guys probed into some questions about the nature of the plane. She indicated that something might be wrong with it, but she doesn't really understand a whole lot of it. She's a smith. She loves making things and building things. She's a bit like Hephaestus, or what's the Theros equivalent for Hephaestus?
Perforos.
There we go. I could see his art, but I could not tell you his name because you asked.
But without some of the manic, desperation to create. And so you got the key that you need to enter the tower, and the decision was put toward you whether to go ahead and return to the tower or to seek out Gander, because you were told that Donathir had 3, possibly 4 people that worked with him when he was kind of establishing the plane. Do you remember what he was establishing the plane as? Like, what was the purpose?
To preserve.
He's got it. Basically, a nature preserve. I like to compare it to more of a Selesnya thing, like, hey, let nature take its course. Less of a Simic, like, mwahaha, this thing plus this thing equals crab horse or something.
Hell yeah, crab horse.
There you go. So, and those 3 people one of them was the current leader of the Vanna, the roaming tribe. One was Eichelnir and one was Gander. So you had a choice between going back to the tower or going to seek out Gander and seeing if he knew any more about what's going on. You had made the decision where you would discuss possibly going to see Gander. And finally, you got some new equipment. The angel who lost a claymore got an Ethereum longsword. It's all blue and glowy.
Yeah, I did.
She also got a crystalline gauntlet that we added to. You said you were left-handed. Chewy, on your character sheet,
Okay.
Your toughness is currently 3. As long
Yes.
as long as you have that gauntlet, we're gonna give it +1, so your toughness is 4.
Wow.
Oh, okay. All it says is that crystalline gauntlet that augments my magic somehow.
Right. Well, and each of these items will have effects, but except for static bonuses, which I want you to note on your sheet, I would prefer that you try things out and see what they do instead of like, hey, this is what the manual says, here's the warranty, blah blah blah. So, um, um, Kareem,
Hmm.
I'm totally not gonna mess up their names today. Kareem,
Totally.
lost a Boros scimitar and has obtained an obsidian steel scimitar. And the way I do weapons here, I know every game is different. Because you have the option in battle of using weapons, using different weapons, using your bare hands, I'm not going to give a strict power bonus for this. But when
Yeah,
we're
that's what the light weapon skill is for, right?
exactly, and also it helps determine what dice you roll and what the effects are. So I didn't want you being like, wait, why am I not increasing power? But you also got the Nivelier chainmail, and
Was it mail or plate?
I wrote chain, but
Okay. I wrote plate, but I'll take what you wrote. Nivelier chain, Nivelier mail.
it's the mail. It's some kind of mail. And your toughness is going to get a +2 for that. So I think that also takes your toughness up to 4. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then Alaric,
Mm.
you got
See, I think we were supposed to have given something.
yes, each of you
We-
gave up something.
Yeah, and I think I gave up my bow.
And you got a new bow in return. And I didn't have a specific name for this bow, but I think it was also
Steve.
made out of that Nivelier metal that was found nowhere else. It's a bit longer than your previous one, and it's strung with the hair of some kind of extinct creature. And you also got 6 pure flame arrows.
Purifier
Pure,
arrows,
pure fire arrows, yes.
and they
So
emulate
make sure you keep those separate from your
silver and iron arrows.
yes, because
Okay.
they're not the same. And then she also gave you an amulet.
All I
So-
have is it says square.
that it has a square gem in it. So that is actually not going to increase any of your base stats. So, but it will have other effects. All right. I believe we are all caught up. She gave you those items. She gave you the key, which is a golden / bronzish looking ball. It's about the size of a large baseball, not quite a softball, definitely smaller than a basketball. And said, all right, this is a good place to stop. So that was at the end of the day because you'd spent a whole day with this exposition dump. So I would assume that at this point you return to the barracks below on the 3rd level and get a good night's rest. And you head out fresh in the morning. Is there anything, adventurers, that you want to do in Nivelier while you're still here, or are we heading out right away?
We're heading to where again?
We're heading to south of the big ass tree. By the way, viewers, there's the big ass tree. I don't know where we currently are.
You
I
are.
forgot.
Okay, so you're looking at the map.
Yes.
And my dog is groaning in the background. Directly north of there is the fortress city of Tyr.
Right.
Over to the right of that is the mountain of Nivelier.
Yeah, we're right here. I've got a handy arrow to point with.
Yes.
So yeah,
That,
we're right here, and Gander is somewhere down here somewhere. What is Gander again? Is that a person?
that is a person.
Yes. Okay.
Although you were warned that he used to be a man, and now he may not be. Uh, Donathier's assistants, through one means or another, if they were, unless except for the leader of the Vanna, who were allowed to pass away and succeed each other, because of the demands of the job, he preferred to have people that were not quite as short-lived as most mortals. So something happened to Gander so that he wouldn't die right away, and
Oh Lord, he's turned him into a rock. I got a rock, and it's Gander.
So, but she did kind of give you a sense of like, so, okay. So you're heading out. Now, of course, since your experience with the Vanna, you have less trouble moving around, even if Mike is leading you. No, especially if Mike is leading you, because he actually has a tracking and trekking scores. So, but the enchantment on the map makes it so you're more likely to succeed when you're exploring. You're less likely to like double back on yourself and stuff like that, unless you want to. So you're coming off the mountain. What direction do you want to head in?
I mean, I would guess south.
Okay, yeah, I guess we'll go south of the trees. So we were recommended to go visit with Gander before going back to the tower. Is that what the deal is?
The option was put before you to, I mean, really trying to take the training wheels off. You can go anywhere in this world you want to go. We'll see if rocks fall and everybody dies. But if you had a discussion amongst yourselves, and just as a recap, it seemed that you had decided to go see Gander before returning to the tower. But that's totally up to you.
Yeah, I didn't take the opportunity to catch up on the last episode, so I just don't remember that. All right.
Mike didn't even find his character sheet or get dice until we'd been sitting here for like 20 minutes. So
yeah, that too.
Into the episode, so
that is true. Yeah.
Okay, so the only reason I still have you roll is basically I just want to make sure you're going in the right direction, and I want to see, part of it is I also rolled to see what sort of stuff you encounter. Now you're coming off the mountain. Of course, there is the tree line stops. You don't have the forest directly hugging the mountain, so there is some plains, some flat land around the mountain. Okay, you're heading due south. You see the forest of the deep green coming out ahead of you in about, let's say, 100 yards or so. But as you're walking, you hear a strange sound, and you look around, but you don't see anything around you.
What does the strange sound like?
Strange sound. You...
Also, whoever's playing with your dice, please stop.
Yeah, Dirk. All right.
Sound travels.
So Mike has trekking and Karim has trekking tracking. So Mike, Karim, you would recognize this. I'm trying to get better. You would recognize this as some sort of call, or you hear the sound of wings, and it almost sounds like something up in the sky communicating with something else. You can't quite identify the species.
Hey girl, hey girl, hey girl.
Sounds like something's flying around up there. Did you guys hear that?
Might have heard a little bit of something, yeah.
Yeah, you want me to fly up there and look around?
Yeah, just if you could see anything obvious.
All right. So I'm gonna take out my sword and fly around.
All right. Roll a d6 for me, please, Chewy.
A D what?
6.
6. I have one of those. It's this one. Ha! I rolled. That wasn't a roll. I mean, it landed on 6, but that wasn't a roll. I rolled a 5. Well, that works.
All right. So you launch yourself off the ground. You soar a good distance up, and before too long, you notice that jutting out of the mountain, on the cliff face, a little bit to the east of where you are being watched by 2 blue-skinned drakes. And as they see you staring at them, they shriek at each other and start to take off, and you hear a corresponding shriek coming from the sky somewhere behind you.
Naturally. All right, so wait, can they hear me where I currently am?
The 2 on the ground?
Well, I meant the dorks.
Yeah,
The party.
Yes, the rest of your
Okay.
party can hear you.
All right, I'm just gonna yell, "It's Drakes!" Wait. You said there were 2 watching me over there, and another sound behind me.
Yes.
Okay, there are Drakes. At least 3.
Okay. Remind me, are we back in the woods yet, or still on the open plains?
You're on the open plains.
Okay. Well, let's keep heading towards the tree line and keep an eye out, I suppose.
All right.
Chewy, roll a d20, please.
20. That is a 12. Let's not roll the d12 when asked for a 20. Huh! Damn it! Stop jumping up on places where you're not. Hang on, let me make a little rolling.
You said
spot
you didn't
here.
have a cat.
What? No. The dice keeps jumping up on things where it's landing on its side. Boom! I rolled. What is that? That is a 9.
That's a 9. Okay.
Not a 6.
Are you intending to stay in the air, or are you kind of flying back down?
I was going to, stay up here and keep an eye on things if I don't know the mechanics of my flying, but I assume that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to make sure that I'm taking this into account. All right, and my dice also want to roll all over the place.
See?
Right. So you manage to swerve out of the way as the third one swooshes past you, and that is an official word, swooshes past you. So now all three of them are basically in a row. To picture this, you have the two other guys on the ground, Karim and Alaric, just staring up at you. You're up in the sky, and there's 3 angry / hungry looking drakes kind of looking at you. One just missed you and is kind of like doing a bit of a U-turn, so they're essentially in a line. Do you want to continue in the air and head toward the tree line, or are you going to try and engage these drakes?
So they are now not in the direction that I'm going.
Correct. There's none between you and the forest. At this point, you are at the elevation you're at, you are above the tree line. So if you're going to go into the forest, you need to descend a bit.
Yeah. Okay, how about I will drop down to be able to go into the forest but still above, and I'm going to yell down to Alaric to, hey, get out your bow just in case, because they're watching us and they're behind us.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Alaric and Karim, are you going to do anything else, or are you still just booking it into the trees?
No, let's just keep moving. I guess I'll... I think I'm going to start pulling mana.
All right.
Pull 1 red from a mountain.
So Karim goes to pull 1 red from a mountain, and as he does so, he notices that his scimitar starts to become a bit warm to the touch. So okay.
Nice.
Wait, are you ready? That's hot. I apologize for nothing.
You really don't.
Alaric, are you doing anything, or are you still just heading toward the trees? Oh dear, did we lose him?
I don't know. Dirk, are you muted or did you walk away?
Because did he say anything in Discord? I didn't.
Nope.
Nope, he didn't say BRB.
So, blue drakes, huh?
I I'd say they're, a light blue. They're not like super dark. They're not like midnight blue or anything like that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Very interesting.
Yes.
No dying.
No, a little bit. I'm not sure where that came from. I mean, clearly my esophagus or wherever that stuff comes from. Where does that come from? I don't know. Sorry, man.
I don't know what to do when Dirk despairs.
And it's not like you're. This is kind of sort of what you might call an encounter or something. And he's the guy with the bow, and the things are in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, he's back.
There he is. Dirk?
Okay, you're gonna have to give me 1 second.
Okay.
I'm guessing there are children issues.
I mean, I get it.
It's either one thing or it's the other. So, okay. So yes,
All right.
the things are coming after us, right?
No, they're just sort of watching us.
They've been aggressive toward the angel.
Uh-huh.
It hasn't really been explored if they even noticed the other two of you yet, so I'm not going to comment on that. The angel is starting to head down toward you.
Mm-hmm.
Mike is starting to pull mana, and his sword got a little bit glowy. And I was just asking you what you want to do. Are you still heading toward the trees? Are you getting an arrow ready? What are you doing?
I'm knocking an iron arrow.
You're knocking an iron arrow. Are you, obviously it's a little hard to move and do that. Are you trying to continue to run and knock an arrow at the same time, or are you standing your ground?
Moving and arming.
Moving and arming. Okay. All right. Mike, you're going to be the first to hit that tree line. I'm assuming the others are going to follow you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming you want to continue to head in a directly southern direction.
Yes.
So roll a... What do I need from you for this? For this, I need a D6, please.
6. All right. It is 3.
Is a 3. Okay. You do manage to make it into the jungle. I'm sorry, the jungle. Welcome to the jungle, boys.
Ooh, are there fun and games?
There are, yes. You do manage to make it into the tree line, followed closely by Dirk, by Alaric and the angel. As soon as the angel starts to get close to the tree line, the drakes kind of break off the attack. It seems like they don't want to be diving down into the trees. So it looks like you're safe for the moment. You wander for a little while and you come into an empty clearing. None of you notices anything particularly sinister about this clearing, although there is a tree laden down with some golden fruit in the middle.
Golden fruit. That's never good. Like golden as in pretty and yellow, or golden as in golden?
It's golden colored and shiny. From this distance, you can't tell if it's real or made out of the AU element, but I'm describing it as golden in terms of hue and shininess.
Okay, well, let's shorten the distance a little bit. Get a closer look.
All right.
Yeah.
Investigate.
I'm guessing since the drakes didn't follow us in, it's safe for me to land.
So you land?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Mike approaches the tree first. Mike, roll a d12.
12. Be this one. It is an 8.
Is an 8. As you approach the tree, you hear a voice seeming to come out of the tree. You look and you can't quite see the distance. You can't quite see the source of it. It says, "Welcome to my grove, travelers. Do you desire some of my delicious fruits?"
Well, kind of fruit is it?
It's nourishing. It'll make all of your pain go away.
Of course it will. I'd like to use my deduce truth skill to get a read on what's going on here.
Very good. Very good. Hold
Yeah,
on
and
one sec.
I'm gonna start using spiritual awareness at the same time.
Okay, so let me. That's great. I want to check here real quick on those charts. Okay. All right. So, both of you are going to use a D20 for this. Let's have Mike go first for his deduced truth, which I see has a skill level of 2. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then Chewy, what is your spiritual awareness?
Also 2.
Also 2. All right, so both of you roll a D20.
10.
3.
All right. So, for Karim, you're listening to the words and you're skeptical. You think that this is something that is telling you something that is not technically a lie, but is definitely trying to manipulate you.
Okay.
And the angel tries to reach out with her spiritual awareness, and for whatever reason, perhaps it's been a crazy couple days. Her brain is a bit laden down with all of this information that Eichelnir gave her, and then just having the quick run-in with the Drakes. For some reason, she can't quite get a read on what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this tree seems kind of weird. I think we better not mess with this right now.
That seems like the wise decision.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm assuming you're going to go around the tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. As you go around, what's the formation? Who's leading? Is Karim still leading?
I guess I am. Yeah. I usually am when we're traveling.
Okay. Who's next? Are you single file or
I'll pull up the rear.
pull up the rear? Dirk, roll a D20, please.
D20.
Here come those damn tigers again.
15.
15. Okay. You all file across. As you're getting ready to leave the clearing, something. Wow, you guys are lucky. As you're leaving, something seems to sail past Alaric and hits the ground next to him, and it sizzles. As you glance back, you see something shifting in the top layers of the tree. Possibly see something serpentine wound around the top of the tree. So, but you managed to leave the clearing with no further incidents from snakes or
some kind of acid spitting something,
fruit or anything like that. So, good job. All right, still continuing to head south. Couple interesting situations. Mike, roll a d6 for me as you're leading.
6.
Yeah.
2.
I'm sorry, 2?
2.
Okay.
Wait, 2?
2.
2.
2?
And 2. Okay.
And getting shot at. No, wait, sorry, wrong stream.
All right. You notice that as you're traveling, it seems like you're still heading in the same direction. You can start to see a bit of the giant tree coming up on your right-hand side, so you still think you're heading in the right direction. The humidity seems to increase along with the temperature. It seems like the area is becoming more tropical than it was before. You're continuing along a path. It's not really a beaten path, but it seems to be that the trees are allowing. There's a path through the trees. You're traveling the first one. I want everyone to roll a d20 for me.
10.
12.
Show off.
19.
Okay.
But
Shoo.
Alaric is leading. I'm sorry. Karim is leading the way. Manages to crest a small hill and start to come down. As the angel's on the ground right now, right?
yep.
As the angel attempts to follow him, her foot catches on something on the ground and starts to cave in a little bit. You're able to pull yourself up. However, as you lift your foot out, your foot, the ground beneath it starts to crack a bit more, and you have apparently stumbled onto a hive of killer bees. So
Are they murder
several,
wasps or killer bees?
they're killer bees.
Also, requisite, not the bees reference. Okay.
Yes. And at least 2 to 3 bees start swarming out. Right now, they are swarming out. You've managed to pull your foot out, but they are starting to swarm between the angel and Alaric. So,
Great.
Are they the Phil Foglio killer bees with the little sword and shield?
let's say yes. Because remember, because this is still magic. I based all the creatures on creature cards. So let's say yes, these do have a little sword and shield. They buzz angrily at you. They are while they have just risen out and they're still taking in the situation, they're about as surprised as you guys are. So I want the angel and Alaric to both roll a d20, please.
18.
11.
Okay, Kareem is a little further ahead, so he'll come into this in just a minute. So that was 18 and 11.
Yes.
All right, both of you did better than the bees. So the bees swarm up, and they look a bit, they're trying to get a sense of what's happening. I think they went out expecting to sting the first thing that they saw, perhaps a badger or some other small animal, and they're looking around, they don't see anything like that. They see these really weird looking tall things on 2 legs, and they're not sure what's going on quite yet, but they're getting ready to start stinging. Alaric, what do you want to do? These bees are between you and your friends.
How many bees are there?
Right now, it looks like there's about 3, but you can hear more buzzing beneath you.
They're gonna attack us, right?
That's kind of up to you and what you decide to do. Bees are
Hail,
something
fair
that occur
bees.
in the natural world. What's that? I missed what was funny.
I'm just goofing around.
Okay. I know, but I want to be part of the goofing around.
Mike
What I-
said, "Hail, fair bees."
At least you're not rolling to seduce the bees. But
I thought about using charm, and I went, "They're bees."
Dirk, what I would say is, I'm trying to not dictate. Okay, this is
They're
what's gonna
they're
happen.
not gonna be ones to be like, oh, my bad, you can
This-
go on.
What has
I'm
happened?
gonna go ahead and shoot.
What has happened is that somebody put their foot through their nest, and that now they're doing what bees do, except with swords and shields. So
Are these bees big enough to shoot with an arrow, or are these like bee-sized?
okay, I feel like they're more bee-sized. I think
okay.
they're going to be.
Oh, but there's only 3 of them right now.
There's only 3 of them. Let's say, okay, I guess I'm the GM, so I've got to make a call here. They are larger than your average bee. They're bees of unnatural or unusual size. They're not as big as let's say they're rat-sized. So they're much bigger than you'd expect, but it's not like it's like, oh my god, it's a person-sized bee.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna recommend not trying to arrow a bee.
Yeah, I was about to say with that being said, arrowing them would probably not be good.
And when you miss, your friends are on the other side.
I
Well,
know.
you
You're
know,
that kind of a skeleton snake if you had touched back.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and try and see if I can get to the other side.
You just want to like barrel through them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and roll a d20.
I don't see this ending well.
I'm not either. 10.
Ooh. Okay. So.
Ooh.
When the DM says, ooh.
Ooh. That
All right,
usually does
so-
not bode well.
So you kind of you see what's happening. You say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try and jump through these real quickly. You kind of tense up yourself, take a quick step back, and get ready to launch yourself forward. But as you take that step back to start getting yourself ready, you slip on some moss and face plant, and the bees, seeing this motion from you, start heading toward you. Angel, what do you want to do?
So my first thought when bees would pop out would be to try to get up a little bit and then flap downwards to knock them down into the ground.
Okay.
But now that Dirk's face is on the ground, that seems like a bad idea. But I want to try to get above them, like I said, and like just give a gust of wind to blow them down, not towards Dirk or Alaric, but straight down into the ground to like stun or confuse or scatter them or something, so that Alaric's dumbass has time to get up and get around.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Angel uses gust. Yeah, there we go.
okay. Actually, I really like that. So tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna do. I'm gonna have you use your fly skill first. So I want you to roll a d6.
6.
And then based on that, we're gonna have another roll kind of
Okay.
for your technique.
So this
go ahead.
is, throw that over there, 4.
4. All right. Now roll a d20 and let's see what happens.
20. Roll it over there. Oh, 15.
All right, 15. Let me do a quick thing here. Oh,
Uh-oh.
wow. Okay. All right.
It's either
So
really good or really bad.
It's one or the other.
you launch yourself into the air, and immediately, like hovering there, you flap with all of your strength. Perhaps magically augmented by something. I don't even know what. Man, this gust of wind hits the bees so hard that they hit the ground, and 2 of them hit the ground and are stunned, and 1 hits a rock and is brained and it's out. So, wow, good job.
Nice.
The other 2 are stunned and incapacitated for the moment. The 3rd one is dead. You continue to hear buzzing from under the ground. Karim, at this point, you're aware of what's going on. What do you want to do?
Are you guys okay?
So, I mean, we got bees.
I'm gonna go over and help Alaric to his feet.
Okay. You're only a couple feet in front of him, so that's fine. That's not going to require any roll. You get over there, you help him to his feet. You kind of get past a delay effect that he's on him. You can tell that there's more on the way, and they are about to break through at any moment. Meanwhile, the bees that are on the ground are nearly recovered. What do you want to do as a group?
Let's get out of here.
All right.
Yeah, I don't feel like
Yeah.
having to have Kareem burn a bee's nest. So
I mean, I get that we run away a lot, but fighting a swarm of bees is not wise.
that sounds like a bad call, especially now that murder hornets are in the real world. Let's not piss off their fictional equivalent.
I've read about that. Okay, so you were asking about that, and I was kind of getting past that because I didn't think about it because I was like, no, this is they're killer bees. There's a magic card, killer bees. I read about that. They found like 2 in Washington State.
I guess, I don't know.
What do they actually murder?
Those just really big hornets.
Okay.
There was a guy who
They murder Bryans, in other words.
Yeah, I'm not down with this. I don't like normal hornets. Murder hornets are just ugh. So anyway, sorry, had to take us out of that for a minute. All right, Mike, roll a d6 if you're still in the lead, or is the angel leading?
I mean, I think at the moment I'm in the front, but he's still the one who's
You're like
directing
you're
us.
Alaric is the one, not Alaric. Kareem is the one.
There it was.
I've been doing better. Kareem is the one pointing. Go that way. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
basically.
Roll a d6.
1.
That's not good.
There's only so many numbers on this thing.
That's true.
You roll the bad ones.
So Kareem says, "Go that way," and you take off heading the most southern direction you can, and you find yourself all of a sudden at a drop off. You're at the top of a very severe hill. It's not a mountain, but you are a good 75-foot drop from where you are, almost straight down. The trees are close on either side. You don't really see any choice except to either try to go down this slope or to head back toward the bees. And at this point, when you glance back, you can see that there are at least that the 2 bees that were stunned are now in the air, and another 2 bees have joined them.
Great. I mean, I could go, but I don't want to leave you guys here.
I think I should try to use my stealth skill to hide. See.
Okay.
Gee, thanks, buddy.
All right.
You just said you can escape.
So, all right, Al, you're here on your own, buddy.
All right. So Kareem is going to try to hide. And the angel's what? Just gonna like fly down?
Can I let's see. Can I carry anybody?
You're pretty strong.
Thank you for noticing.
Kareem is gonna probably be a little heavier than Alaric. Alaric, as a monk, is gonna have a little less baggage, and Kareem also now has that either chainmail or plate mail, one of the two, armor. So it's gonna be easier for you to carry Alaric than Kareem.
Yeah, so my thought is if he's going to hide to try to buy some time, I can grab Al and we could go down and I could drop him off and then go back up and pick up Kareem and, try to make that work.
That's cool.
Because, again, fighting a swarm of killer bees with little swords and shields does not sound like a terribly intelligent thing to do.
All right. So
I run through this real quick with the guys. Okay, here's my plan. What do you think?
Sounds great.
Sounds good.
And besides, you're here, and if they do find you, you have fire magic, which I'm pretty sure is good against bees, right? Don't you have fire? You have fire magic, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
he is burn.
Yeah, I thought I remembered that.
Yeah. All right. So everybody's down with this plan. Let's see how it plays out. Chewy, go ahead and roll a d6. Mike, go ahead and roll a d20.
Ooh, I rolled a 5. I'm very strong. But odor isn't everything.
I got a 9.
You got a 9. Okay. Chewy.
Yes.
Not Chewy. You're good. Dirk.
Yep.
Roll a d12.
D12. Two.
Oh.
All right, I got to think about this for a sec. Okay. All right. The angel grabs you, starts to carry you down the cliff. Meanwhile, or drop. I said it wasn't a mountain, so starts to take you down. Meanwhile, Kareem kind of wedges himself between some of the trees and tries to remain as motionless as possible. The bees start coming into your area, but they do not. At this point, the angel has dropped out of view. They do not see anything else. They start to leave. 3 of the bees have already left, and then something happens at the exact same time. The bees, the angel starts to lose her grip on Alaric, and Alaric, trying to overcompensate, twists and starts to fall. At this point, you're most of the way down, but you're still talking about a good. Numbers aren't my strong suit. I'm gonna say a good 12-foot drop.
Ooh.
And you make and he involuntarily makes a sound. The last bee hears that sound, swerves back to take a look, and in doing so, for just a moment, locks eyes with Karim, and starts to slowly turn back in his direction. I need to know.
Duck and roll.
I need Dark to roll a d20, and I need to know, Mike, what do you want to do about this bee? It kind of it was facing away from the cliff. It heard the sound. It turned back toward the cliff, and as it did, it locked eyes with you for a second, finished looking at the cliff, and it starts to turn back in your direction to be like, wait, was that what I think it was? You have a moment because you can kind of see what's happening. What do you want to do?
Scramble to the other side of the tree and hide again.
Scramble to the other side of the tree and hide again.
Mike
All right.
is
Sight.
Mike is guaranteed to use violence as the last resort, even though Dirk is the monk.
All right.
I don't like beating up animals.
Dirk, did you roll a d20 for me?
I did.
Okay, what did you get?
A 6.
Okay.
Broken ankle.
Chewy, roll a d20.
I can't. I'm taking a drink. D20 says, "Oh God, 3."
Really bad at this game.
Okay, you made it.
Somehow the angel impales herself on her new sword.
You made it through the trial of Eichelnir. You have fought, killer tigers and mad moonfolk and all this, and now you've got a hill and some bees. All right, Mike, I'd like for you to roll a d20. You're going to try to reposition yourself before the bee sees you.
Yes.
Okay.
That is a 4.
All right. Here's how things play out. Dirk, Alaric, being a monk, manages to grab onto a tree branch as he's falling to try and break his fall, but it starts to snap under his weight. The angel, panicking, realizing what's happening, barrels after him and accidentally hits the tree and causes the branch to finish breaking. And both of you tumble to the ground and take 1 damage.
Ow.
You're both stunned for a bit.
I should
Mike-
hope so.
Karim tries to reposition himself, but the bee does catch the movement and starts buzzing more intently than it was before. The other 3 bees that had left turn around and seem to be having a conversation with it. They're about to start heading back. The 2 on the ground are stunned. Mike,
Hail, fellow bee.
Mike, what do you want to do next?
All right. Well, let's see.
While he's thinking, is it toughness or HP that we took?
Toughness. You work off of toughness first. It wasn't enough of a fall because you were managed to break it a little bit that it caused severe organ damage or anything like that.
So in my mind's eye, what I saw was Dirk grab a a branch, but like he was falling too hard and it bent, and so he let go, and it flew up and hit me in the face as I was trying to fly down and grab it. That's just what my brain was showing me while Brian was explaining things. Because my life, like, I see the world through terms of cartoons.
Yeah.
Just in case anyone
If
didn't
that's how you
know.
want to take it, that's fine. So you were both a bit disoriented, and hey, panic, even for warriors, panic can do some crazy stuff. So Kareem, this bee has seen you, is now talking to the other bees. You got to make a decision. Your friends are at the bottom of this ravine or whatever you want to call it. What do you want to do? You still, because you called a mountain a while ago, even though you've moved a little bit away, it's still fresh enough that I'll say that you still called that mountain. If you, I'm not saying what you have to do, but if you
And the sword is still a little warm.
Sword is still a little warm. Yeah.
All right, I was wondering about that. So I'm going to pull another red mana and draw my sword and just kind of hold it, out in front, menacingly, threateningly. I'll try to use my intimidation skill to encourage the bees to, just back off.
Okay. All right. So you pulled a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
As you do so, your sword continues to get warm, and you see that it's starting to glow a faint red color, but it does not appear to be uncomfortable for you to hold.
Mm-hmm.
You draw it out, you point it at the bee, and you're essentially gesturing at it, and you're like, "Hey, you got a sword? I got a sword. My sword's glowing red."
Yes.
Roll a d20.
20.
Oh, snap! The bee explodes.
The bee really isn't sure what's going on at this point. Its home has been stomped into. It's flown out. It's been knocked to the ground by a sudden angel, while another weird tall thing that's never seen before face plants. And now it's at the cliff, and it heard a noise. And now you've got a sword, but unlike your sword, this one's glowing, and you can feel your animal instincts are on high alert, and you can feel red mana, and the sword is doing something that swords aren't supposed to do. At this point, your buzzing turns to essentially a high-pitched shriek, and it starts flying away at a rapid pace. It goes past its comrades, who all look at it and then start following it at a rapid pace. The bees have left the building.
Oh my god, bees are smarter than people. Because when someone runs past you at high speed, you just start running too.
Congratulations.
Yay.
You walk over to the side of the cliff, and you look down, and you see your friends. They
Are you guys okay?
yeah.
Ow. Somebody doesn't know to stay still when I'm carrying them down a cliff.
You look to your left and right, and you do see that while the trees do seem dense, and originally you couldn't tell a way through, it may be that you're able to work your way while the tree wall to your left, to your right is fairly impassable. If you're careful, you may be able to pick your way alongside the drop off until you can reach a part where it looks like you can start to see handholds and go down from there. So, or you can wait where you are for the Angel Taxi Express, but she's a little shaken up right now. Or you can head back toward where the bees came from. What do you want to do?
And ask them for a ride. Sure, I can be careful. I'll just start edging my way down. Now that I'm not, being threatened by stinging.
Yeah, that's true. You guys just gonna chill and rest yourself for a little bit? Kind of get your wits back about you?
I mean, I will watch carefully just in case he slips, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Mike, roll a d20, and Chewie, you're watching him.
Yeah.
Roll a d20 as well.
to see if I can see him. Hup.
Karim disappears.
Oh, snap. Natural 20.
4.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. All right. So Kareem starts picking his way along the tree line, trying to keep 1 foot on a root or something at the same time, and 1 foot trying to feel out, where's the drop off. Always keeping a hand on the trees, being careful. You feel yourself start to slip once or twice, and you still got a good at least 20 feet to go before you feel like it's safe enough where you can start to see where the slope becomes less severe, and you can start to see a spot where you can come down. Angel, as you're watching him, you notice that something seems to slide across his face, almost like a shadow. You crane your neck to look further up, and you see what appears to be a dark shape in the sky circling Kareem like a vulture. And when, upon closer inspection, it looks to be something smaller than a dragon, but larger than than the drakes you saw before, and it appears to be more crimson in color. You couldn't originally see it unless you were looking right at it.
Great. All right. Let me think here. Hey, heads up. There's something above you. I don't want to worry you. There's something above you. I'm gonna go up and try to draw its attention so you can get down safely.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Because I'm guessing that he's doing fine.
He seems to be doing all right.
He's
having trouble with some maintaining his balance with some of them. He's not as stable as you would like, but it doesn't look like he's in immediate danger of falling. So, Dirk, are you doing anything?
Waiting for Kareem to get down.
Okay. Mike, roll a d20. Chewy, roll a d6.
6. Huh. Oh, Jesus. 1.
12.
Okay, good.
All right. So, Kareem, you continue along and you start to reach a more solid path. You're not having to step on quite as many roots, and you're able to get to a part where you feel safe to drop down to the ground and start working your way down the side of the hill using some handholds. Looks like at this point, because there's a bit rise from the floor of the forest, you're now only looking at about a 30-foot distance versus a 75. Chewy, the angel, you start to take off, and you realize that in that fall, you must have sprained your left wing, because all of a sudden you feel incredibly off balance, and you're not able to keep yourself up for any sustained period at all.
I try to go up, I go right instead. Like, what?
Basically, you can keep flying and you go in a circle over and over and over again, but you can't lift yourself up more than about 3 feet off the ground.
So like in real life. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
You realize that we're going to beat whatever boss is in that tower in some epic conflict, and then we're going to die walking back down the stairs.
Accurate.
The stairs is, in fact, the final boss of this raid. So, okay. Mike, roll a d20. The angel is I'm gonna say the angel's out of it for a turn. Dirk.
Yep.
Now that you have noticed this creature in the sky, you can see that since Kareem has started to go down the handholds, he seems more preoccupied with that. This thing is starting to fly closer to him, and it is now becoming more and more visible, and you are able to identify it as a saber-toothed wyvern. So, what do you want to do, if anything?
And it's coming at him.
It's getting closer to him. It is obviously heading toward him versus just, oh, it might be going somewhere else.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and knock an arrow. Take the iron arrow and go ahead and shoot.
You're going to go ahead and shoot the wyvern. Okay. Mike, you rolled for me. What did you get?
It was an 18.
It was an 18. All right. You experienced no problems starting to head down. You're probably about halfway down. Your hands are preoccupied with this, and the wyvern lets loose a shriek. It can tell that you're getting away, and it starts dive bombing you. As it's doing that, Alaric pulls his bow with an iron arrow, you said?
Yep.
And attempts to shoot the wyvern as it's heading down. The angel's still a little like, what's going on? And is kind of taking everything in. Dark, with that, with your new bow, roll me a d20, please.
13.
13. All right. All right. You shoot and you manage to snare it, but while you were aiming, I'm assuming you were aiming for a killing shot somewhere in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As it approached the wyvern twisted to the side, and the arrow lodges in its wing, and it lets out a shriek of pain. Tries to level itself, and much like the angel just a minute ago, starts tilting in the other direction. At this point, it is still heading toward Karim, but more out of control. Karim, roll a d20, please.
All right.
I can see where this is going.
20.
Never mind.
Really?
Really?
Oh, these creatures are so dumb. Okay. It is about to collide with you, and you, calling upon years of service as a soldier, using all of your martial instinct, managed to act moments before it would collide with you. You do one of those crazy side hops you can really only do in video games, where you're jumping from one side of the hill to the other side, and manage to catch a jutting rock from the side. And you stare in awe as the wyvern crashes where you were just moments before and falls to the ground.
Hell yeah, Nathan Drake.
Yikes.
Everybody cool?
All right. Yeah. I mean, I guess I better keep moving.
Okay. All right, so you want to keep moving down. You can
Yes.
see, at this point you're probably about like 10 feet from the ground. You can see that there's maybe like one or two more handholds beneath you.
Why don't you just
Angel,
parkour on way down?
Angel and Kareem, Angel and Alaric are just kind of watching at this point. So roll me a d20, please.
Okay.
Nat 20 when that thing was barreling toward you.
Mike quit school because they had recess.
What's that?
I said Mike. Oh, sorry.
You're both talking at the same time.
Okay, Mike, what'd you get?
6.
Okay.
You're almost to the bottom. You lose your handhold a bit, but you fall all of like an extra 3 feet. So you do a tuck and roll, and you're fine. Meanwhile, you see the wyvern, while it was originally hit the ground, it's not dead. It's kind of shaking its head, and it looks up at you and hisses.
Because of course it would.
Yeah. Well, it's angry. It's in pain.
Kind of curious as to why it was after me when it saw you two laying on. It had to have seen you two laying on the ground.
Not necessarily. So you were up right against the wall of the cliff there. See, so
It's true. Yeah.
Plus, your sword is glowing red, so you know.
Yeah.
You still have your 2 red mountains ready. You still have a glowing red sword. This thing is hissing at you. It is closer to you than the others. The others have started to get a sense of what's going on, but they are several feet away. Karim, you do have advantage over this because it was just knocked down. Do you want to do anything with it, or you just want to turn around and walk away?
No, just leave.
Just leave?
Yeah.
All right. Roll a d20.
Okay.
Have a wyvern bite you on the ass.
It's a saber-toothed wyvern after all, so that might hurt.
14.
14. You turn around. You start to head back toward the others. You tell them, it's not worth it. It starts to get up, but its wing is too wounded. It makes another threatening sound, and then it just lays down again.
Oh.
You're a bit disoriented, given that you ran away from bees. Some of you fell down a cliff. Others of you flew and then fell. Some of you climbed down it the long way. But it looks like you are much closer to Drazil, and it is still on your right side. So you do still appear to be heading in a mostly southern direction at this point. The humidity has continued to increase, as has the temperature accordingly. Again, it's much more tropical here than in some other parts of the plain. However, you are seeing the sun getting a little low in the sky. You have the cliff close by. You're not so close that you can see the wyvern anymore. Do you want to camp here for the night, or do you want to keep going a little longer?
I'm going to bond with the land real quick.
That's a good call.
Okay.
I'll do that too.
All right.
Just while we're, not doing anything, trying to figure out what we want to do.
While nothing's trying to eat you at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
All right. Let's see. Okay. Give me 1 second. Everybody roll a d12.
Nope, that's a 10. That's a 12. Mine rolled under some papers. Hang on.
12.
I got it.
Hang on, I gotta live. I got a 10.
All right. Everybody already had a jungle. Every single person.
Yeah.
Mike and the Angel, Karim and the Angel now have another jungle. So just put 2 for that.
Yay.
Alaric failed to actually form a bond with this land. Maybe he's still just a little exhausted from being dropped and, hitting
Being
a brand.
face planted earlier.
Yeah. You've been kind of a bit of a Three Stooges character today. So, All right. So you attempted to form, and in some cases actually formed bonds with the land.
Yay.
Yeah.
So, do you want to continue going? Do you want to camp here for the night?
I think we should keep going a little longer.
Yeah.
I
Going a
agree.
little longer? Okay. All right. Mike, roll a d6.
D6. 4.
Okay.
Okay, so Chifuji asks, how do we fall in here? Wyvern or wyvern?
Wyvern.
I think I usually say wyvern.
I think I used to say wyvern when I was younger, but then I was peer pressured by these two.
Wyvern sounds like you're trying too hard. So, Dirk, what do you say?
I say wyvern.
See, peer pressure.
There you go. All right.
I really just say dragon. Or dragon.
You're going along. The sun is down over the horizon at this point. It's getting dark. It's still very muggy. You're in what seems to be some sort of nondescript part of the jungle. Doesn't really look different than any other part. And as you're walking through here, you hear a voice off to your right say, "Everything going well for you, travelers?" You can't immediately tell where it comes from, except somewhere to your right.
Is it at all familiar?
I think my first response is to go, ah!
Okay, so the angel goes, ah, and then Karim, it doesn't sound... It sounds like you might have heard it somewhere before, but you can't readily place a name or face to it.
Who's there?
A face emerges from the darkness, a Nakatl. It's one of the Vanna. She explains to you that they were patrolling in this area, saw you, and as you were told before, they usually kept travelers at some sort of a distance. But seeing as how they had already given you a map, she was sent out to reconnaissance. She was already is that really a word?
Isn't it?
I mean, it is a word, but no one ever uses it.
She was sent to talk to you and make sure you's okay. So.
Oh, okay, nailed it.
Yeah. So she just is checking. She doesn't seem to have any provisions or anything on her, but she just wants to make sure nobody has any life-threatening injuries.
Not yet. Give us a minute.
She asks how your journey is going. This is not, by the way, a Nakatl that you have dealt with, although she may have been with the tribe when you met its leaders before.
Mm-hmm.
So,
man, there was a tree with golden fruit and something wrapped around the top, and then there were bees, and then there was a cliff, and then there was wyvern, however the hell you say it, and I hurt my wing, and I dropped this idiot, and it's been fine.
She looks at your wing and says, "Oh, is that in any kind of pain still?" And
I would assume not, but okay. Keep going.
She takes out a small vial and offers you just a bit of a salve that she says will not heal your injury, but it will numb some of the pain. And if you allow her to put a drop on, you feel a very light, cool numbness spread just for a moment where she dropped it.
Ah, well, thank you. That's very nice of you.
I'm happy to try and help travelers. For so long, we haven't really had a purpose, so I'm happy to help where I can.
Okay, yeah. Well, besides all that other excitement, we were able to get an audience with Icolnir in the mountain, and now we're going to try to find Gander.
She hears these names, and as you're talking, first she seems to get excited when you mention Icolnir. Her gaze drops to some of the items you have now that are more glowy than they used to be. But then when you mention Gander, she lets out a bit of a low hiss.
Oh, is there something we need to know about Gander?
Why are you seeking him out? She wants to know.
I don't actually remember why we're seeking.
Yeah, speaking out of character, I don't remember.
Is the tower related to Gander?
The tower is kind of the other direction, but the thought was to maybe go see him and get some information from him first about what's happening. So when you explain that to her, she looks skeptical at first, but then she slowly nods her head. What we know about Gander would confirm that he might be able to help you if he chooses to. You can find him at Aosk. For those of you following at home, that's AOSK.
What's an Aosk?
Aosk is a, she thinks for a minute, a settlement to the south of Drazil.
Oh, okay, so that must be this on the map.
The path that you are currently taking will eventually lead you there, although it will probably be at least another 2 days hike through the jungle. Be careful. The jungle is probably one of the most inhospitable places on Trivester. Even we Vanna try to have, don't come here unless we feel like it's necessary. Be careful if you go to see Gander. We do not have regular communication with him like we used to. I am told that we would run messages to him, but the last time we sent someone to try to communicate with him, the messenger did not return intact.
Oh. Not intact.
Equals not in one piece.
If you try and press her on this, she absolutely refuses to talk any more about what happened to the messenger.
Oh. Great. That's always a good sign. Is there a better way to get there than going straight through the jungle?
She thinks about it, then she shakes her head. At the point that you're at now, I suppose you could try to circle the long way around the tree, but that would mean taking the river for part of the way. That can also be treacherous, and this way is arguably shorter. As long as you remain fortunate and you keep your heads on your shoulders and your shield and sword in front of you, I have no doubt that capable travelers such as yourself should reach it intact.
Okay.
Oh.
She also looks you up and down. While I think that you should be wary of Gander, I think you are also capable of doing what needs to be done for this plane. So I hope you find success.
Can I ask you what? How do I word this? What form is Gander currently in? Do you know?
How would we recognize Gander?
Yeah, that's another. That too.
Okay. All right. So let's answer these one at a time. She looks the angel in the eyes. You are an angel. While I have never met another like you, I have heard the stories of your kind. And all that we have heard is that you are paragons of light and justice.
That's very true.
I cannot say for certain what has happened to Gander, but from what I gather, from what happened to our messenger, he is your exact opposite. He is a creature of the night. He belongs to the night. Some say the day repels him.
Okay.
And then as to how you will recognize him, she laughs. Anyone in Aosk could certainly tell you where he is. I do not think there is a creature living on this plane that would claim to be him that was not actually him. Whether out of respect for him, out of fear for him, or out of disgust for him.
Good to know. So we're looking at probably vampire, possibly demon. All right, this.
Yeah.
And I nudge Alaric, and I'm like, huh? No problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's from Innistrad, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
May I be of any further assistance to you travelers? Otherwise, I should reconvene with the Vanna, make them aware of your progress.
Do you know of any good places to camp for the night nearby?
She disappears into the foliage and comes back a minute later. There is a source of fresh water directly to the south, which is extremely rare in the jungle. You have to be careful. The water here can be very brackish, but there's a source of fresh water to the south, just a very little ways. There may be animals that hunt near there, especially after dark, but I have not found any dangerous animals relatively close to you. So I would probably recommend that you stay exactly where you are.
Excellent.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do we need anything else, boys?
Nope.
No,
All right.
thank you very much.
Thank you, and give Shurak our appreciation for keeping an eye on us.
She bows low to you and says, "It is nice to have a purpose again." She hands over the remainder of the vial of the liquid to the angel, which does appear to be somewhat depleted. It obviously had been used before she had used it on your wing. And she disappears into the night, and none of you, even with heightened senses, can tell which way she's gone. So you want to take her at her word and stay here for the night? Or what do you want to do?
I mean, that seems she would know better than we do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we should
trust her.
probably.
This is the safest location, yes.
Yeah, we should probably go find the water and then make sure we know where it is, and then
Mm-hmm.
you know, yeah, come back here and chill.
Okay.
Still have this mystical canteen that can hold a couple weeks worth of water.
Yeah. So you want to leave this safe zone and go toward the water that she said some animals stalk at night.
Well, I guess we don't need to do it now.
No, you do whatever you want. I'm just asking.
I mean, it's dark though, right?
It is dark.
Yeah.
The sun
It's
set
dark.
some while ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
in that case,
if it's
never
dark, then it's dark, then it's time to stop.
Yeah,
I mean,
I didn't realize it was dark yet.
I will let you do whatever you want to do. I just want to make sure I understand what your intentions are. So, are you going to send one person to go check on the water, or are you all going to go, or are you going to stay where you are?
Say stay.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
check
Well,
it out.
like I said, I didn't realize it was dark yet. I was gonna nip over there before it got dark, but I missed that.
All right. Well,
Nip, I say.
I have a question. Does the with the way things work around here, is the food that we've been carrying around in our packs, is it staying fresh? Is it staying pretty legit?
it's staying pretty legit. It won't stay good forever, but you've been having a little bit. Unlike that first episode where I was like, okay, do you want to stop for lunch? Okay, you want to stop for 11Z's? Okay, do you want to stop for second lunch? I've been like keeping track of what you got. So,
It's like I see this 1 pound of bacon still sitting in my list of possessions, and I'm wondering about it.
I think you cured it pretty well, so it'll be good for a little while. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you all tuck in for the night.
Yeah, you're right. I guess it wouldn't make sense to just be carrying around a hunk of raw pork in my backpack.
I would like each of you to roll a d20.
Wait, did you say 20?
Yes.
14.
8.
9.
Ha! Losers. I mean, what?
All of you tuck in for the night. There are no incidents over the night. You're not attacked by anything. But at some point during the night, Alaric is woken. And at first he can't tell why. And then he has the distinct feeling that he was woken by some sort of shuddering in the ground. It appears to have passed by the time that he comes to his full senses, and it's really hard for him to say how much of it he remembers and how much of it was part of a dream. But he is reasonably certain that is what woke him. But he is able to go back to sleep sometime later. So, you rest for the night. You wake up in the morning refreshed. Those of you that took some damage to your toughness, that damage has worn off, and you're ready to go and ready to get back on your adventure. And that is exactly where we're going to stop for today.
Makes sense. It is 10 o'clock.
It is.
Chifuji said, I'd love to see a campaign that includes the magic and food imps from Golden Axe that you can kick to get stuff. That is oddly specific, correct, yeah.
Well, he knows what he likes, as he says.
Thank goodness he does. Lord.
So,
all right.
not
So
so
it
much-
was. We didn't have like an actual like combat scenario, but we did do lots of stupid crap.
Karim did his level best to avoid fighting lots of things, whereas I think that if the situation was reversed, I love the fact that you guys are playing the characters. Say that the bees, if it was Alaric last, he might have been more inclined. Wait, he was last, wasn't he? He was more inclined. Yeah, for the bees. But like if Karim was the one that was still on top of the cliff, he might have been more inclined. I don't know. That's up to Dirk to take some other approach. But everyone took an approach that felt genuine to their characters. So I love it. We didn't really have any. Well, we had a little bit of dialogue there at the end with the Nakatl. But not nearly as dialogue heavy. There weren't so many scrolling text boxes of information during this episode, which I think is good. It's good to have a balance between the two. It was kind of fun. This episode was like the run away and trip over yourself on the way out episode. So I like it. Everybody still having a good time?
Yeah, hell yeah. One of these days, I'll actually get to hit something with my new sword. One of these days.
True.
Hopefully, I'll behead a vampire or something.
Stuff is still out there. You've still got mysteries to unravel, stairs to climb, and possibly fall down and die.
What do you mean, possibly?
That sounds like a challenge.
You are an angel. If you die falling down the stairs, it will be the most hilarious and sad thing ever. Maybe you'll fall on Alaric. So, yeah. Cool. I guess since I'm the GM, it usually feels like I'm more narrating these episodes. So I guess it's my turn to say final thoughts. It just doesn't feel right when Chewy doesn't do it. Chewy?
So yeah, I guess some final thoughts then before we all pass out.
There we go. So I'm actually doing okay. I'm a little tired. I was up late last night because I was working a little bit on. We didn't make it to AOSC, but I wanted to make sure we prepared if we did. So I'm doing okay. I'll probably stick around until we actually sign off. I guess my final thoughts is life continues as it's been. So, I mean, I feel like I've kind of gotten into a rhythm and I'm building a fence and so we didn't record last week. So, hey, I'm building a fence and I'm actually getting like biceps now because I'm having to dig through rocks and roots all over my yard to put in the fence posts.
Yeah,
And
what is it you said last week? Apparently your house was built on a quarry.
Yes, it feels like that. Like I started digging down. I'm like, okay, I need this hole to be 18 inches deep. And I dug one and it was so easy. And I'm like, haha. And then the next one. after 3 inches, I hit rock. And I don't mean rock like, pull it out of the way. I mean, like, the hole has to go through a rock, into a rock. So it's been difficult. But hey, I'm getting buff. So it's tiring, though. And it's frustrating because, so you put down a pole, right, in the hole, and then you put the cement in, but you can't put the cement in if it's going to rain in the next 24 hours. And the weather forecasts have been all over the place. Like yesterday, they were calling for rain in the morning, and it didn't really rain in the morning, but like, oh, it's going to rain in the afternoon. It never really rained. Did you guys get any rain yesterday?
A little bit.
Yesterday, I think so.
Maybe.
Okay. So I didn't feel like I really got any. So I'm like, hey, that's a day, because I couldn't put cement down on Tuesday because it was going to rain yesterday. So I'm like, huh. And so it's a long project. It's a difficult project, but we're making headway. It's fulfilling. You know how you've got a difficult project and you actually start to see it come together and it doesn't look as crappy as you tell yourself it will be. So I'm like, I'm actually proud of this. Let's get it the hell done is kind of where I'm at. So, but otherwise I'm doing okay.
Sweet. How about you, Zerk?
This week I'm doing a little bit better. This week mentally and everything. I think the big thing for me is I was a little disappointed today. So I bought Final Fantasy VII on the Steam. I'd bought Final Fantasy VII on Steam, and I was playing it concurrent with the remake. And so now that I've beaten the remake, I'm still playing through 7, and it crashed on me twice today.
Oh.
And one of the times it crashed, it wasn't a big deal because I had saved not like 2 minutes earlier, and it was at the Battle of Midgar. During the battle with the big thing that Heinger and what's her face are in the big machine
Scarlet?
with the big gun. Scarlet, yeah. Are in the big machine, and it's right before you go up and fight Hojo.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, the second time, I've been trying to find out where the HP materia is, because I only have 1, and I want to get, maybe like 2 more for my party. And so I've been hunting around. Well, I'd caught 2 chocobos to add to my farm, and I was in one of the towns trying to see if I could find it. And then when I left the town, I got a black screen as though, it's loading to go to the world screen, but it never got there. And 5 minutes later, it still hadn't gotten there. I'm going, oh, that means I lost those 2 chocobos. Oh.
Yeah. Game overs in Final Fantasies can be rough. So.
Well, it's and it's just I like the remake that it automatically saves everything. Like when you get to some place it says, you're in a place you haven't been to in a little while. Let me save that for you. This one, the old Final Fantasies is, if you didn't save and you did stuff, I'm sorry. We only save what you save.
Tough nuggets.
Tough nuggets. You lost all that info, and so I'm disappointed right now that I've lost a little bit of information.
Not to take over Dirk's final thought, but had a recent experience where we're playing through Final Fantasy X with Sam, and we're at the end of the game. We're now, okay, spoiler alert for what, a 20-year-old game? We're now inside Sin, and the problem is that so far we haven't really had much of a problem. We've been appropriately leveled for everything, but everything is so tough, or is so big and mean that, like, whether we're going to the Omega dungeon and like trying to level up there, or inside Sin and trying to do it, everything just takes these battles take a while, and so you don't want to save after every battle. That gets tedious. But when you've done like 5 battles and then you lose on the 6th one, like like we were inside Sin and we're mapping it out, and I'm feeling like, hey, we've got a pretty good handle on this. We've been to the Omega Dungeon a couple times. We're doing all right.
Blam,
And then,
dead.
yeah, we killed a King Behemoth, and it counters with Meteor when it dies.
Whoops.
And everybody got dealt over 5,000 damage, and we're like, okay, so the last, 20 minutes, just 30 minutes, just, So I feel you, Dirk. That's where I'm going with it. I feel you. Baby.
I was happy for a crash last night.
What were you playing that you were happy for a crash?
Okay, I had a really bad day on the 5th. Like a really bad night. And then on the 6th, the first thing that I got was bad news. By the way, I didn't tell you guys, Lex tested positive for COVID-19.
No.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she's fine. It was on Sunday. She said she was miserable for several days, and then she's back on the up and up now, or getting over it and feeling better. I was more worried about long-term effects than the actual sickness. When she sent me a text, she's like, "Guess who tested positive on Sunday?" And I went, "I severely hope it's not you." She's like, "Nope." But so that was just what I needed to start the day off, But like I said, she's okay.
Okay.
But so I didn't, and my brain was all over the place. I'll probably go into this more in my final thought. And so I decided I won't stream because I had a headache and I was anxious, and I hated literally all of humanity more than usual. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch a movie. I was gonna watch one of the remakes, or one. I've been doing rewatches of different things. I was like, okay, what's next on Pixar? Up. No, I'll never make it. Okay, what's next in Marvel? Civil War. Damn it. Princess Bride.
There you go.
So I watched Princess Bride, and then I came back here and I decided I would play Skyrim and do all of the tedious crap that is, like, I find soothing, but that I don't want to do on stream, like alchemy, building up my alchemy level, and building up my smithing level, and then fast traveling around everywhere to sell off all the crap that I just made. I find that sort of thing soothing, but it's not a thing to do on stream. So
it's not riveting to watch.
No, God, no. It's miserable to watch. So that's when I watched the Nate Bargatze stand-up special. Actually, was on the iPad right here while I was playing on Skyrim here. But I just was making potions and making jewelry and then selling stuff and repeat.
Yeah.
And it was very relaxing. And I came out of Hunting Brew Meadery, and there was a big ass. I think it was a legendary dragon. No, not legendary. Whatever is like one step below a legendary dragon in Skyrim. And I went, oh, cool. And it killed like 6 people that were hanging out outside. Then I don't know if they're important or not. And I went, oh, for God's sake. So I reloaded. And I came out and there was like a little dinky normal dragon. And I said, aha! And I killed it. And the game crashed to desktop. And I went, thanks. And then I looked at the time, and it was 2:30 in the morning. I went, no, really, thanks. I appreciate you crashing right there.
Time to go.
I'm going to go to bed.
The game was doing you a favor.
It was. So yeah, I was really happy about that crash. I went, thanks, Steam. Good night. That is the only time I've ever been happy about a crash, though. So. Anyway, sorry, Dirk. We all sort of walked over your final thought.
No, I mean...
That reminds me of the time...
No, usually... I've noticed that a lot of my final thoughts are ones that result in a lot of tangents that occur. So.
Because you're a man of the people. And the things that happen to you inspire us to all moan and Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Family doing okay? Everybody healthy?
Everyone's doing pretty good at this point. I think a big thing right now is just the thing on my radar is making sure that Trevor gets all of his school stuff done because the next school drop off is next week, and I'm gonna gotta make sure he's got all that work done so it gets turned in, and also see if I can get all the stuff ready to get Leighton registered. Because he's going to be going back to our school. He's going to be going back to the elementary school this coming year.
Okay.
And so I got to get all the registration. I called up the school and they said, "Yeah, here's what you need to make sure you do. We emailed you this. We're going to email you this, and you make sure you have all the stuff so you can get registered and blah 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 blah." So I got to do all that. And they said, "Well, you can't come into the building." So you can either email it to us or you can wait until the next drop off and just leave it in the packet. I'm going, it's going to be dropped off at the next drop off.
Sounds about right.
So I had talked to the speech therapist person about, should I wait? Should I, just wait until the school year's over? What, this is, and her response was, everything is running so slow right now. You might as well go ahead and do it now because hopefully by the time school starts, they'll have it all processed and everything. Seeing as our county is going to be starting the school year a lot earlier than normal.
That's the goal, What they were like, hey, we're going to start early because then it's going to be more in line with what we want to do as far as like having the kids tested before winter break, which always makes more sense to me than like, welcome back to January. You have 2 weeks of second quarter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But now with everything, it's like, I hope that's still the plan, but.
Well, it's going to be modified because of the COVID stuff and everything. So the thing I had heard was school was going to probably start somewhere around the 11th of August.
Okay. That's still not terrible.
Yeah. I have no idea. I think they're still trying to figure out, because there was the original, here's what we're going to do one, and then with we have to make sure we account for extra time of COVID and everything. That has changed up the timeline and everything, so I'm not sure what my county's going to do. I'm just going to wait, find out, wait and listen. And whenever the principal sends that email, says, all right, here's when you guys need to show up, that's when I'm going to show up.
That's a good call.
Yeah, I like that plan.
It's just the way it's going to it's just the way it's going to go. I'm just listen, and just whatever someone says, here, this is what we need you to do. Be like, yes, sir. I'll be there with, bells and whistles.
And hopefully pants.
I'll
maybe.
I can't guarantee that, but I'll do my best.
Lord. Okay, next.
This also reminds me of something.
Yeah. So I got an email, like everyone at work got an email saying that they were last week saying that they were thinking of starting to open the office up slowly, starting this coming Monday. But there was another one sent out earlier today that they're going to hold off for another couple weeks. So I'm like, well, I'm going to be here at the apartment for a while yet. And that's fine.
Well, good on them to be like, this is what we're going to try. And then they get some feedback. And instead of being like, this is what we have to do, we've said it, being like, maybe not. So,
yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. So It's mostly the only bit of news. I mean, not much has happened around here since the last time I talked to you guys.
How far are you in Supernatural?
Well, not much has happened here since the last time I talked to you guys.
I had to ask. I almost asked earlier, and I decided not to.
Honestly, don't know why you bother anymore.
Because someday he will.
Someday he'll be like, I watched one more episode. And
He
Brian
claims
will
to
immediately poop in the floor.
He claims to like the show. So
What was it? What was it? Episode 9? Wasn't that the other one that Mike hadn't watched or something like that?
What?
There was something else that we were discussing.
Oh, a movie. Yeah.
Yeah, movie-wise. Star Wars Episode 9 or something like that.
Or was it one of the Marvel Universe movies?
I think it was one of the Marvel ones because he did see episode 9, and we had a
because we talked about that last week on the Not Podcast show, and oh my god, on the odds and ends that so I posted 3 odds and ends today, finally from 2020, and on those we fussed at Mike for not seeing Rise of Skywalker yet. And Brian first told us about Sam playing Risk and wanting to take over the whole world. And I'm like, the timing on that is eerie as hell. Because those are both things that we talked about last week on the Not Podcast.
So you're saying that I'm unoriginal and I just repeat the same things over and over again?
No, you gave us more detail, oddly enough, on the more recent thing. But
probably because we were just like, I mean, the whole point was just to chat. So
yeah.
So you're saying that I'm unoriginal? I just repeat the same things over and over again. No.
Lord. So wait, Brian, did you final thought already, or did we just walk all over Dirk's?
Yeah, Brian was the first one.
Okay.
And then we did Dirk's, and I interrupted that. And then we did Mike's, and I interrupted that. So it's your turn for me to interrupt you.
Gotcha. Okay. So, yeah, I was door dashing on the 5th of May, which, as you might know, we call here in the States Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo is a white person's holiday where they eat Mexican food and drink Mexican beer and get drunk. That's the only thing I know about it. I don't know if it has any significance outside of white people getting drunk. Sort of like St. Patrick's Day. It's St. Patrick's Day, but they drink Corona instead of lager or Guinness. There we go. And I had an order for a Mexican joint that's right down the street. And so I went there, and there were like 15 people all standing outside and like mostly spread out, 5 of us were wearing masks, but we were outside. So, whatever. And, it was a giant mess, and it took me roughly 20 minutes to get the meal that I was there to pick up and to leave. And I said, let me not go back there tonight. And then I did 2 more orders past that. Excuse me. And I looked at the time. I'm like, all right, I'll do 1 or 2 more, and then I'll go home. And because we were going to play Killing Floor, all of us, me and Bill and Cap and Haley and Gothic. Who did I miss? Me and Bill and Cap and Haley and Gothic and Steph. There we go. There were 6 of us because it's a 6-person party in Killing Floor 2, and it's a brilliant game if you've got 5 other people to play with. And I got an order that said Fritas, and I went, surely it's eased up by now. Sure. Because it was like an extra it was like a $12 order. And I went, that's hard to turn down. And then I got another one immediately after that was a $10 order. Because it was on my route, so they just piled them both on me. And I went, nice. And I get there, and there's only 3 or 4 people standing outside, but the parking lot is full. And I'm like, something's not right here. And the back of my head goes, oh no. I'm like, surely to God, they're not all inside. Because, they could all die. Surely to God, they're not all inside. So I walk in, and I can see roughly 30 people just piled around the building inside. There were more that I couldn't see because of the way that the the restaurant is shaped.
Mm-hmm.
And they were obviously overwhelmed. There was one girl up front, not wearing a mask or gloves, handling all the payments. One guy running food from the back and calling out a number, and then sitting it down and leaving because they were so slammed. And the DoorDash thing was just going beep, 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 and just spitting out orders just constantly. And every once in a while, she would walk over and rip off like a 4 or 5 foot long pile of receipts, fold them in half a couple times, and walk them to the back. And I'm going, oh my God.
Wow.
And I looked around, and one, there was not a Latino person there that didn't work there. They were all white people, of course. And literally 4 of us were wearing masks. 2 of us were wearing gloves. I say us because I was, one of the 4 and one of the 2.
Right.
And I stood there, hopeful, for about 45 minutes because I had, over $20 worth of orders, and it was only like 5 miles away. So even if this takes a while, this is still well worth it. And I realized at one point that there were 6 total, counting myself, 6 DoorDashers in there. And they'd called one DoorDash order since I got there. And the dude picked it up and left. And then later I realized that there was a second bag sitting there with the same person's name on it. And I'm like, wow. That person had 2 bags, but they only gave dude 1. Nice. And I kept seeing the poor girl that was taking care of payments and whatnot just kept ripping off these giant, long groups of receipts and walk them to the back. And I'm like, none of these DoorDash people are ever getting their orders.
No.
And, people were all clustered together. I was trying real hard to stay away from everybody, but it was not possible.
You do the best you can.
Yeah. And more people kept coming in. And it was just god awful. And at some point a police officer showed up. I don't think he was there to pick up food, but he never came in. But when I finally gave up and left, spoilers, he was standing next to the door. I don't know if he was a just in case or what. I don't know. But when they look, somebody saw him coming through the window as a husband and wife that were standing across from me. And of course, whenever you see a cop, he went, "Oh no, the cops." And she goes, "Psh, I don't care, right to assembly." And I went, and I had to stop myself from saying, "I kind of hope you get COVID and die." Because I was so disgusted at all of these white people just standing around like it was perfectly safe and fine and natural. And finally, I started to twitch. I'm like, because I didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
And because I hated all of these people with every fiber of my being. And the person standing just off my left shoulder went, and I said, "Nope." And I went into my app and I canceled both of the orders. I said, not ready. And I ended my dash and I went the hell home. So it was not a good night for dashing because I did a total of 3 orders and then spent 45 minutes waiting on these 2 because had I gotten them, they'd have still mostly been worth it. But I don't think anybody got their food. There were just bags of food just laying around. And they would occasionally look at it and call out, if it was a call-in number, they would call out the last 4 digits of the phone number. Or if it was an order someone made in person, they would call out an order number. But these idiot people that were standing there, like everything was safe, didn't know their phone number or didn't bother to keep track of their order number. So she came out, she's like, 44? And someone went, "What is it?" And I'm like, "What the?" And I said something out loud, not that loud, but it was a WTF out loud. I'm like, "Did you not think that with all these people here, maybe you should keep your order number handy? Dumb ass." I really wanted a meteor to just hit this building.
That's only a valid response if you've literally never been to a restaurant before in your life.
Right? So yeah, I noped out, ended my dash because even if I tried to work in like another couple orders, I would just be declining orders to Frida's all night because they just kept coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why. Like I heard someone tell her, just don't answer the phone if it rings. And I'm like, you need to turn off the DoorDash thing because it's just gonna keep ticking up, man. So yeah, I came home and was just angry and scared and didn't and it just I lost all hope for humanity that night. I came home and I'm like, okay, when everybody hopped on the call, I'm like, we need to kill the hell out of some zombies or else I might kill the hell out of a bunch of people. Like, we need to do this now. And Bill usually plays the demolition, so I was like, Bill, can I have the demolitions for the first game? Because I need to blow some things up. And Bill was like, yes. Thank you.
So, just real quick, I had something we try to do every year is go pick fresh strawberries. It's kind of cool. You can get them generally cheaper than you can in the grocery store. It's kind of a neat thing to do with Sam. And Carrie was looking at it, I was like, it'd probably be easier to do it during the work day because a lot of people still stay, not everybody still stays home, of course, but a lot of people will still have work and that sort of stuff. And with my schedule and courts mostly being closed, maybe I could take her. So today, called over to a local farm that does it, and they were doing it today, but the owner said in his message, in the pre-recorded message, I am over 75. I am one of the people that's at risk, so we ask everybody that comes to take every precaution necessary. And I'm like, actually, I'm super glad to hear that because Sam has literally left the house, except for walking the dogs, 3 times in the last 2.5 months. So today being the 3rd time. So we tried to be as careful as possible. I have a mask now that a nurse in our neighborhood makes, and she says, "Oh, they're free and whatever." But I've given her some money each time. Picked one up for Carrie, and then today picked up a child-sized one for Sam. So she and I went there, stayed like probably 10 feet away from everybody else, at least picked our own lane for strawberries that nobody else was in, and had a great time. There were so many people there without masks, and the owner of the place, I assume he was the owner, had a little thing set up where to get your basket, where you get the basket from him and then you fill it with strawberries, right? And then you bring it back later and pay. He had a little sign saying, wash your hands first before you even approach. And he had little, the washing stations they have at fairs where you use your foot to like make the water go and all that. And he wanted you to do that before you even approached him, and then read all the instructions. So Sam and I are washing our hands and doing all that. And a mom starts to come over to him and it's like, hey, we want to do this. And he's like, all right, please go over here and read the instructions first. And she like backed away and she said something I don't think she thought he could hear about, like, well, that's a great attitude or something. And maybe she just didn't realize that she need to read the instructions or whatever, but they're not there. It's a clump of them. Nobody has masks or gloves or anything like that. And the attitude just seemed to be like, well, why should I listen to this sort of thing? And he's trying to make sure he's not going to die. He's trying to make sure everybody's staying safe and healthy. And Sam and I were there, and there were probably like, it was spread out, but maybe like 20 other people there. There were maybe like 2 other people there with masks. And it just felt like, so we got our stuff, we paid, and I thanked the gentleman. I was like, thank you for trying to be safe about this. And we left. So yeah, humanity. It's awesome, isn't it?
No. I was getting so mad about people breaking quarantine for no reason just because they wanted to.
Right.
And now I don't care. I hope everyone gets it. I hope y'all die. Like, I don't have the brain space to worry about people's health and safety when they won't.
When they won't do it, yeah.
Not even their own health and safety, but the health and safety of everyone they come in contact with. Like,
because it's not, like Carrie told me, her main frustration is it's not about you. Everybody's so concerned about the way this applies. It's not about you. And people in general are so selfish that if it doesn't affect them, then why should they give a crap? So,
yeah, like I try not to get political on the show proper, but the whole point of the stay-at-home orders was to give the government time to put a plan into action and ramp up testing and stuff. And it didn't. Like, nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Everything, they just... I saw on Twitter today that it's like someone waited till the last minute to do a project in school, and they got an 8-week extension. And they spent those 8 weeks goofing off instead of doing the project. And now it's due again, and finally they're like, I'm just going to take a 0. Like, they don't care. There's no national anything when it comes to testing or trying to make things better and safer and healthier. So, like, there's not even a point to the quarantine other than your own safety, because there was no follow-up. And so I understand that people are like, well, I want to go shopping now because I'm stuck in the house. And I understand that. You're still stupid and selfish, and you're probably going to die or kill someone else. But, like, if the people in charge aren't trying to fix the problem, then I guess there's no point. It just everything sucks all the time. And like we had COVID-19, now we got murder hornets. What's in that? Bears with chainsaws. Like, and then a giant asteroid.
Bears with chainsaws.
I really do think we need to start an apocalypse bingo. Just like, all right, put in there what you think the next thing is. The Yellowstone National Park is or the Yellowstone supervolcano explodes. Meteor that'll like wipe out a country. Let's see what else. Tsunami that's gonna wipe out New York. We'll just make our own bingo cards.
I mean, there's currently a wetland in Florida that's just on fire, even though it's a wetland. Like, yeah, it's fine. Everything's gonna die. We're all gonna die, and I can't wait for it. Humanity had our shot. It's time to go the way of the dinosaurs and let the next whatever, like, I guess amphibians, is it their turn again? I don't know whose turn it is.
Nah, I'm still waiting for those robots from Boston Dynamic to take over.
I think it's Mike's turn.
It's Mike's turn, right?
I remember when I would play Sim Earth, and I would get to that point where, you know, humans leave the planet and they become like a, you know, stage 4 civilization or whatever, and they leave the planet to go spread out among the stars. It was usually the cetaceans, the dolphins and whales, that would become the next sentient species on the planet. Sentient dominant species.
Yeah, dolphins, whales, and crows, I think, are like the smartest. Well, I think dolphins and crows are like the two of the smartest creatures that are not us. And not directly related to us. So, hey, go for it. And then I just threw my phone on the floor because I don't care about it either.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to get all dark, but it was a... And then, like I said, after all that happened, I wake up the next morning and get a text from Lex. Guess who's tested positive? I'm like, son of a...
Let me just say, I feel like I am generally an optimist. And I think last week I was talking to Chewy and I said a lot of bad words on the phone because I said it's so hard to be an optimist right now because things just keep getting worse. And I had some words to say about the government. I had some words to say about Wizards of the Coast. I'm not even going to go into that right now because it's going on like 10:30. It's like, oh God, it's 10:45.
Yeah.
But I'm still an optimist at heart. I still feel like we're going to get through this. Those of us that don't die, either because of COVID or because Chewy kills them, are going to get through this. And I hope that everyone listening stays healthy and safe. Bottom line. Sorry, I couldn't take all. I get where you're coming from with the negativity. I had to
Oh,
throw
I
just
hate
a little bit
people.
of ray of hope in there. That's all I got.
Like, I've lost all hope for humanity on the whole, but individuals, like you listeners, I still want you to stay, healthy and safe, and you dorks, and intelligent people, because after all the idiots die, somebody with brains needs to be around to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, you can still find good and positive things in the world, even when you acknowledge the inherent pointlessness of the physical world itself.
If nothing else, I have to finish Halo Wars, and at the rate I've been trying to finish the last 2 missions in Halo Wars on stream for like 3 weeks now, and stuff keeps coming up, or I keep feeling like crap or being horribly depressed or something, and can't do it. I was supposed to do it last night, couldn't do it. Watch Princess Bride instead. Like, oddly enough, the Princess Bride is a lot of help for bad brain states, just in case anyone isn't aware.
Okay.
It's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
I'd forgotten just how much of that comes out of me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I forever on stream will say something like, "Hit it with the rock!" It's just one of those things I say all the time. And, yeah, that's Vizzini.
Mine's still inconceivable.
Well, of course, yeah.
Every once in a while, I bust out, maybe just even thinking it to myself. I don't think that means what you think it means.
I use that one on Twitter a lot. Anyway, right. Well, how about we wrap this up then?
So some final thoughts?
No, we already did that.
Just kidding.
So, right. Here on Twitch, I'm still doing watch parties on Saturdays. Now, if you're listening to the audio version of this or watching the video later, apologies. But hey, live people, we're still doing watch parties on Saturday. I think this week we're going to stick with Star Trek The Next Generation. I haven't figured out what we're going to watch this week, but we're going to watch something. Either some Borg episodes or some Q episodes, or I guess the first Borg episode is a Borg and Q episode, so, Because Q's like, "Hey, look at what I got." Bah! And he points at it, and look over there, it's the Borg.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, we might just watch Darmok 4 times. I don't know. Or the what? There are 4 lights! Maybe we'll watch that one. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But
You watch it 3 times and convince everyone you watched it 4 times.
yeah, there we go. But also, like I said last week, we just all got on here and just talked about stuff. All of that is going up in pieces on the YouTube channel, along with some Hearthstone games going up on the YouTube channel. I played some Secret Rogue, and next up is some Highlander Mage games. Just Yogg's Puzzle Box is both my most favorite and least favorite card I think ever.
It's awesome. Even when it makes me lose, it's awesome.
That it definitely is. So, yeah, that's what's currently going on the YouTube channel. There will be more once I finally finish Halo Wars. Those 2 will go up, and then I could mentally bring myself to start something new. But I can't bring myself to start something new when I still have to finish something. It's just 2 missions. This should not be hard, but I can't seem to actually make a stream happen when I'm like, right, we're playing Halo Wars tomorrow, and then something awful happens. So, damn it. But anyway. So yeah, that's what's going on with the content and whatnot. Remember, there's still one YouTube video that goes up every day on youtube.com/themanapool, and I stream just all the time. I take Tuesdays off to kill things with Bill and Gothic if we're playing Overwatch, and with Bill and Gothic and other people if we're playing Killing Floor. Because you just need one day a week to kill things without an audience. Even though you'd think that killing things without an audience, if you kill something and no one's watching, does it even count? is it even dead? And in the case of zombies, yes, they are, and I feel better. But and here lately, I've been streaming Skyrim on Friday nights after my DoorDash shift, and then I take Sunday off. So that might, and because of exhaustion usually, because I haven't not had a night on camera, since since Tuesday. But anyway, I don't know. We'll figure all that out later. But anyway, so hey, all of this ridiculous amount of content that is perfectly free to consume, by the way, comes to you via our lifeguards at patreon.com. If you go to patreon.com/themanapool, you can sign up to become a lifeguard, and you can get early episodes of the Manapool and early YouTube videos. You can get the odds and ends. Like I said, the first 3 from 2020 went up today. It's really weird because we're talking about like the previous Magic set and the previous Hearthstone set and getting together, and I'm like, like. It's like, what do you mean get together? Oh, right, it hadn't made its way here. This is like the beginning of January, duh. So yeah, it's a weird time capsule, and it's really neat to listen to. Honestly, I was enjoying listening through all 3 of these. Yeah, and also you can get the sponsorship shout out on both podcasts and on the end screen for all the YouTube videos. So hey, a big thanks to. Excuse me.
You are welcome.
Do what?
Said you are welcome.
That's that name was French, I guess. Sorry, we watched Time Zero last week on the watch party, where Data gets kicked back to hang out with Mark Twain, and to cover up his weird mannerisms, he goes, "I am a Frenchman," and everyone's like, "Oh, of course." But anyway, let's try this again. A big thanks to Jason Doan, Kim Ho, Andrew Hunt, Al, Lance Delicious, Team Ellis Haru, Connor Kennedy, John Morris, Alex Gonzalez, Scuzzo, Jeff Spencer, Stuart's Law, PJ McMullen, Casey, Danny Liao, Cody Buckowing, Jake Jansons, Jason Kaus, John Parker, Aleph Cat, Beardy Man, Bartle, Backwards Logic, ALK Alters, and the Beast Father, Aaron Goodwine. Whew.
Hey, that's not my name.
That correct. Thanks a lot, Brian. So with that, yeah, let's be done with this episode for God's sakes. This has been the Manapool number 590, an RPG episode, and then lots of ranting at the end because it's apparently a thing that we need to get off our chest every week. So, thank you all so very much for joining us, and let's see. I guess I'll say go play some Magic, or go play an RPG, or Final Fantasy VII. I don't know. Go do something that's appropriate to what we did on this episode.